Hi everybody, this is M from DIYM. Today I'm going to be doing a series on these three things that I got from my husband for my birthday. So if you guys don't know, we have, well, basically the same day as our birthday. We're 2 years apart, but we share a birthday. So I got him some stuff that's not craft supply related, and he got me this. So I decided to do a series where I play with these and make a card with them and maybe some other things. Anyways, I thought this would be really fun. So for this day, I'm going to start off with the Tempera paint sticks. Okay, so first, before I start this video, I'm going to bring out this. I got this glass mat. It's magnetic, so it has these magnets. They kind of came on there really tightly, so I put them on this so that they weren't on there tightly. But yeah, I'm going to use this twice, and I'm not going to use this for the envelope punch, but I'm going to use this for the fuse tool as well. But I'm also using this for the Tempera paint sticks, just so I can maybe mix some water. I've got a couple things of water here, one for dirty water and for clean water, and I'm just going to bring out some paintbrushes here as well. I probably won't use this right now. I'm gonna put these magnets aside here. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely use this to protect my surface here a little bit. I think the Tempera paint sticks, as far as I know, I haven't used them yet, so I'm gonna do a test sheet as well, but I think they're quite dry. I'm gonna put this mixed media. This is a mixed media pad that I got forever ago at my old art store. So I used to work at Desairs a long time ago, and Desairs joined forces with Fabriano to make this mixed media pad. And Fabriano, they have their paper made in Italy. They're actually a really good brand as far as I'm concerned anyways. But yeah, these guys are 9x12 sheets, so I might cut these down to 8.5x11 really quickly. But I want to do a swatch of these paints as they're dry and as they're wet. I'm gonna do a line and then blend them out with some water, so that I can see what they look like when they're dry and wet. So I'm also going to use these for playing around itself. So I'm going to make some backgrounds for cards, right? I'm just going to mix them if they can be blended out with water, which I'm not honestly sure because I didn't really see much on the site about that. But if they can be blended out with water, which I hope that they are able to do, then I will make watercolor-like stuff. So for those of you who don't know, Tempera is also gouache, which are kind of like watercolor with a little bit of chalk in it to make it a lot more opaque. So I'm not sure if these sticks are creamy or anything like that, but I will tell you the consistency. I'm actually really excited to play with these because I used to play with kind of more like gel sticks. I think they felt like you're drawing with a really creamy lipstick, so that was kind of neat. So I don't know if these are going to be the same or if they're going to be a little bit drier or what the consistency is. Some people have described it as playing with glue sticks. I don't really love the feel of glue sticks, so I'm going to see if it's closer to playing with lipstick on paper. I don't know. I did that back in the day when I was a kid. I think I used my mom's lipstick to play on paper. You know, you're a little artist, you're just experimenting with everything and whatnot. So anyways, I'm gonna cut these down real quickly to 8.5x11 sheets of paper, okay? Just so this will fit in my binder a little bit easier, because I've got a swatch and art recipes binder that I like to put things like that in, right? Sometimes it's really good to swatch your stuff. You don't have to necessarily do that, but sometimes it's actually good to swatch your stuff. All right, so I get to play with this now. So there's all the colors on the back here. I'm gonna see what works and what doesn't, okay? First I'm gonna do swatch, and then if you guys don't really care about watching swatch stuff, I'm gonna speed it up anyways, I think, but if you guys don't really care about watching swatch stuff, then I would say check out the timestamps down below in the description. Okay, so I literally haven't opened this, guys. I'm doing this for the first time with you guys. Got a box cutter here. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun to play with. I'm so excited. Oh my god, they're so fun. Okay. So there's 36 Tempera colors. I'm just wondering if I should put them in some sort of rainbow order. Okay, I'm gonna probably put one of these aside so I can play with this guy. I think there's metallics and neons in here too, which is really cool. If you guys want to see the swatches, I might do that at the end of this series. I might talk about each swatch. So I might do a separate video specifically for that where I slow that down. We'll see if I have enough time to do that sort of thing. I might want to move on to some other projects, but anyways. All right, so I'm just gonna have a play around. This is gonna be a fun video, I think, because then I just get to play around with stuff. I'm just going to put this off to the side. I'm just using the same papers that I used for the swatches here. So it's just a mixed media paper pad when DeSares and Fabriano joined forces. I'm I-12. So yeah, I'm just going to play around with some colors and reference my new swatches and hope for the best. Hope that it looks cool. There's so many really cool colors. I don't think I'm going to be using any of the neons, to be honest. I might use some of the metallics throughout, but I think I'm just going to use mostly the matte colors. And then if I decide to use some metallics, I might just use them sporadically throughout. I think that's going to be how I roll. So here we go. And I'm not sure, I might blend things a little bit here and there with some water. I have some water set up over here, and I have paper towel too to blot my brushes with. Is this the ocean blue? Oh, these are, my bad. These are the metallics. Okay, I want this one. I really like the ocean one. So this one's the ocean blue one. I guess this one's the ocean blue one. So I'll just do some nice ocean colors with this. Okay, and then maybe I'll melt that into some of this deep cyan. And then maybe I'll go into this, I'm gonna call it soap purple. And then maybe this lovely teal color. Lovely, beautiful blues. And then I'm going to blend these beautiful colors together. And you can blend them as is, but I think I'm just gonna start with the bottom and do some nice blending here. And this might ripple the paper because it's not a very thick watercolor mixed media paper. This blue really comes out with the water, eh? It really blends nicely. So if it gets on the glass mat, it's not that big of a deal. You can easily wipe that away. Beautiful ocean vibes. I think once it's a little bit more dry, I'm probably gonna lay something down on top of it. But yeah, this is really pretty though. So when the paper's wet, do these guys react well too? Let's see. These are really fun. I don't know, guys. I would suggest picking these up, maybe having better paper for it, like watercolor papers. That will probably take it a bit better, but this is really fun to mess around with. If you guys like playing with watercolors or gouache, you might really enjoy this. I'm not much of a watercolor person. I didn't learn much about it when I was in school, but this is really fun if you're into blending. Okay, so I have one card backing here. Let's see, I might just continue things on with a green maybe, or maybe I'll do a bunch of different colors, maybe greens and purples, I don't know. I'll do this jade ore, that's what I'm calling it. I'll do this in some yellow maybe, and get into some pretty purples. I'll do the sun yellow. Maybe get into this yellow here. This is I'm gonna call it daisy yellow. Here, I'm gonna flip this around. Maybe I'll do some pinks. And then I'll get into the purple. I think I'm calling this one Purple Haze. Some pretty colors there. I'm calling this one Royal Purple, I guess, because it's like a very deep purple. Oh, I love all these colors. They're so fun. All right, well, let's see if I can do some pretty washes here. This is kind of going into the yellowness green, but whatever, it's fine. So that's what happens when you blend things, I find. Okay, so this one's going to be trickier down here. Might get a little muddy here because of yellow and the purples. The pink's not enough of a barrier, basically. Because purple and yellow are complementary colors, right? So if you're doing complementary colors side by side, they blend into the brown color, so it's gonna get muddier. That's what you guys are seeing here. Okay, I'm gonna get another paper towel and just blot things a bit here. Ooh, this is kind of neat, actually. Wipe this away. When I found out what my husband got me, I wanted to get something that I can use the heat tool on. I've always wanted a glass mat because then you can just easily protect your surface and wipe things away no problem on this. So I think glass mats are really nice for that. I think I might just do some fun colors. I don't know. Just wanted to do them a little bit lighter. I'm gonna do some pinks and purples and stuff over here sporadically. And maybe some greens as well. I don't know. I really like this green. I think this is a really pretty green. Oh, this is really pretty with these colors. But are they going to blend is the question. Let's give it a whirl. Honestly, guys, so much fun. Kids might actually go through them really quickly because they are so soft. So they might press down really, really hard with them. I'm not sure, but I feel like that might be a thing. Okay, let's try to blend things a little bit and see what happens. Just gonna blend out this pink first. It seems like one of the lighter tones. I'm gonna try to avoid the green for now. It does puddle a bit, and you can sort of see some of the colors underneath when it's a darker tone, but it's kind of neat. The green is very different from the pinks and the purples, so it also might get very muddy just because there's some yellows in the color, but it's really pretty still. Here, I might just add this dark purple down at the bottom just a little bit. So yeah, you really have to play with, if it's a darker tone, you really have to blend it out quite a bit. Again, it would have been probably better if I used a paper that didn't buckle so much and so easily, but that's okay. Anyways, it's kind of neat. Because this does buckle so much, I'm going to see if I can just do some cool colors and just blend things a little bit without water. Maybe some yellows and greens, I don't know. This goes on pretty smoothly. It actually feels like butter. This is crazy. I don't want to keep doing gradients necessarily. Can I blend this with my finger? Oh, not really. But yeah, this looks really cool also when you don't do the watercolor effect. It looks cool with both looks, right? This looks a little more grainy, but it still looks really neat. I think I'm going to finish it off with dark blue on the bottom here, and then I'll see if I can, once it dries a bit, I'm going to see if I can put some maybe gold throughout. I really like this blue color, it's really pretty. And it dries fairly instantly. Yeah, like I can't even blend with my fingers, so. Oh, that looks so pretty. Especially with the purples. So pretty. Alright, I'm going to put this off to the side, and then I'm going to, when it dries a little bit more, because there's some puddles happening here, it's really, really rippling. Once it dries a little bit more, I'm going to put some sort of heavy book on them and flatten them out a little bit more. So I'm done with that. Now I'm going to do some more. Alright, I think I'm just going to try doing them without blending them with water. I'll see if that looks pretty good, okay? I'm going to start with this red. Why not? I don't use red a lot in things, but there's a lot of holidays out there that require red, so. This is very bold. I feel like I should have had the red last, but let's see what happens here. I don't have anything in mind when I'm doing these things. I'm just sort of having a play and see what happens, you know? Just wanted to do something warmer toned. Looks like a heat sensor on a map or something. This is really good if you're doing dinosaur colors, I think. One of my nephews is really into dinos. Do a really cool card for him, probably. So there's just a little bit of metallics laying around in here. I'm just trying to think of what I can do over here. I feel like I'm getting burnt out a bit. I'm gonna play with the metallics a bit more. St. Patrick's Day just went by, so I guess I got green on the mind right now. I don't know. Did you guys do anything for St. Patrick's Day? I think it's a pretty fun holiday. Maybe I'll get this bronze out. Gold and green look cool, but bronze and green also looks cool, I think. I mean, you can't win them all, I guess. I prefer the other sheet that I just did. I don't fully love everything though. Okay, maybe I'll get some gold out. Maybe that'll save it. I don't know. Who knows? Let's give it a whirl. This one's kind of a meh one. I don't even know if I'm going to do anything with this, but I can always chop things up and see what happens, if it looks kind of neat or not. Down below, I just want to play with these colors. Maybe a little bit purple. I don't know why, I just really like those colors. I'm kind of gravitating towards those. I'm really into this. This feels like more of a mint color. I know that I've used this a lot in this, but I'm really liking this color a lot. I guess don't be afraid to do silly scribbles too on your paper. This kind of looks like Easter colors though. I'm doing this before Easter, so I guess it kind of makes sense that this looks like this. What a fun way to add gold to things, right? It's so nice to just be able to add a touch of gold really easily without actually having to paint stuff on. So fun! Anyways, guys, I think I'm just gonna leave a lot of these to dry, and then, as I said, I'm going to put a book on things to just flatten things out, and then some of these I'm just gonna cut out and see if I can make some sort of card backings, okay? And then I'll show you the results when I come back. Okay, so here are the pieces I did that are flattened out. They're not exactly normal pieces that I would have chosen to do, I feel. I don't fully love how they turned out. I love playing with it. I love the process of it more than anything, but I don't fully love the outcome necessarily and how it looks. Abstract is not my forte and it's not my go-to way of working, but it was fun to break free of what I normally do, I guess. So I think I was successful there in not making things look perfect. It does look very childlike, I feel, which is not a bad thing, but again, it's not really my go-to. I don't know if I love this one, but I'm going to probably save it anyways, but I'm going to attempt to cut things down a little bit more so there's not much of a border. We'll see if things look a little bit better. Maybe it'll look a little bit more professional. Okay, so I'm going to chop this stuff down. So yeah, it looks a little cooler when it's got a straighter edge, I think. They're gonna be all different sizes for sure. I'm not really trying to size them at the moment properly. I'm just trying to get the borders off. So it looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, I'm starting to like how these look without borders. Fun fact, gouache is sometimes used with inks. White gouache can be used as a whiteout and has been used as a whiteout in comic making. So I used to be a comic artist. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this about me because I don't really talk about it all that much on this channel. I'm a little bit of an illustrator, but I did have a webcomic a long time ago that I did when I was in my 20s. And I also worked in an art store, in case you also don't know that about me. But I learned a lot about the history of art, even just working in an art store, talking to other cartoonists or illustrators or whatever. So I found out along the way, I could actually make a few cards out of this, but I could also make a slimline card as well if I wanted to. But anyways, I found out along the way certain tips and tricks from just talking to other coworkers, other customers, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I found out gouache was used as a whiteout of sorts before Photoshop, Illustrator, all that sort of stuff came along. So I found that really fascinating. Yeah, I kind of like this. This is quite nice. I feel like there's a lot of white spots, but it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, all different sizes here. Anyways, yeah, these are a lot of the backings that I made. Again, they're not something that I'm super duper proud of. This is kind of neat. It's fairly safe and subtle, but at the bottom I could always do what looks like sand maybe, or texture, and that could be an ocean piece. I could even cut off this part and it would still be a very simple ocean piece. It could also be the sky. This looks like water a little bit more to me, but I like this one because it's very pastel and rainbowy. It has a little bit of texture in the corner of the paper towel texture. You can always play with textures, especially with watercolors. I don't do watercolors much on my channel, but I've done stuff with watercolors like adding salt to watercolors when it's still wet and it creates some interesting textures. There's all sorts of cool stuff you can do with watercolors. You can always add drops of rubber cement too, and it could look like bubbles if you're doing water. I did stuff like that when I was in high school. My high school art teacher provided a bunch of stuff for me to play around with watercolors. I didn't do it much when I was in college. Probably why I kind of shy away from playing around with watercolors now. I do love the look of watercolor, but I find I like it when other people do it more. But again, again, I haven't played around with it enough. So if I played around with it a little bit more, maybe I would enjoy it a little bit more. I do like this one, actually. I like this one better now that I've cut it down. It looks a little bit more intentional. But yeah, it's got some more vibrant, interesting colors playing with each other. The gradation sort of makes sense, kind of going into each other, but it has this dreamy quality to it, which I like. This has, to me, almost volcano dinosaur vibes to it. So I feel like this would be a really good background for doing a card with a dinosaur on it or something, maybe. But anyways, in the next video, you'll probably see me doing some shakers with my fuse tool. So stick around for that. And then the next one after that, I'm going to be using my Crafted Layer envelope punch. I'll be making envelopes for whatever cards I end up making in the end. So this is going to be a small series that you guys can follow. And yeah, I think it's going to be really, really cool in the end. We'll see. But stick around. I hope you like it. If you do like this, please give me a like and subscribe and share the video for anyone who likes new materials, card making, and playing around with that sort of thing. Maybe even doing abstract stuff. I like testing out products and playing around and seeing what they can do. So I think this was really cool. I love watercolor pencil crayons because you can use them in 3 different ways. This is kind of similar. You could use them dry, which, as I said, dries pretty immediately, or you can add water to it and play around as a watered down gouache or close to a watercolor look to it. So yeah, I think these are a lot of fun, honestly. The 36 pack has a lot of colors. I'm gonna link the product down below. If you guys enjoy this sort of thing, I hope you guys like this and play around with it. There's all sorts of different other ones too. You don't have to get that specific brand. There's all sorts of different similar kind of mediums, which I think are really, really fun to play with. It's definitely a fun thing to add to your art collection if you want to play around with different backgrounds and different colors. It's also reminiscent a little bit of oil pastels. If you like the look of oil pastels, there are some really soft oil pastels out there, especially like the higher end ones that are actually really nice and fun to play with, really creamy. But this gets you there with a minimal budget. This gets you that creamy consistency quality. And if you don't mind the graininess that it gives, to me it looks very playful and childlike. If you like that kind of quality, then I think you guys will probably like having fun playing around with this sort of thing. Anyways, I hope you guys have an awesome day and take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye! Happy crafting!